Here we are, round 8 of the Virginia Championship Hare Scramble Series for 2026, and I have switched classes, moving from 30 plus C class to the open electric class, which also runs in the morning. And I don't think I ever heard a 10 seconds call. Yes, the open E line shares with another gas-powered line. So yeah, talking to the guy to the right there, I just never heard the 10 seconds, so I'm not really... And he's like, yeah, we're going! So I didn't even know what the flag was. Anywho, doesn't matter. I got no business winning this class. We got Travis from Travis Go Race Suspension, who won the class and got approximately 4th overall. So I'm on a 2026 Stark Varg EX with a few aftermarket bolt-on parts. Again, I'm C-Class. This race is in the mountains of Virginia. And my total race time was about 1 hour and 41 minutes. At least that's what it said through scoring. I ran the first lap in 22 horsepower, the second and third laps in 27 horsepower, with a little bit of regen, approximately 30% regen. And I also have traction control on to approximately 25% as well to help with some of these hill climbs. I finished the race with 37% left. So I easily could have gone and done a 4th lap and been out there for over 2 hours, racing at a moderately quick C-class pace. One could argue I would be like a really bad B-class racer. So just to kind of put it in a reference for anybody watching, yeah, I made the switch. We are halfway through the season. I was riding decently in the 30 plus C class on my KTM 300 XCW, which is now for sale, just so you know, anybody. 64 hours, bone stock, except for bolt-on protection parts, and I got a bunch of aftermarket goodies for it. Yeah, so this first lap, it rained quite a bit, and VCHSS, and specifically Coyote Run 2 here in rural Retreat, Virginia, they always put on an exceptional race at this track. It's one of my favorites. I love the elevation change. We had a lot of rain overnight. Well, not a lot. We had a decent amount that really knocked all the dust down and made things a little bit slick on this first lap, but things tacked up nicely the second and third. But the routes did remain pretty slick the whole race. But the biggest challenge, yeah, I don't know what to do in these situations on this electric bike. It's got a horn. I used it twice. I guess I just yell, woo-woo, to let people know I'm behind them. So there's this weird situation. Everybody knows it's like, electric bikes, one of the biggest issues is you can't hear them. So for a safety, aspect, that's something you got to deal with. But a lot of times when you come up behind someone on a gas bike, they can hear you, and oftentimes they will just kind of lean over to the side and let you by really quick. Well, they don't hear you coming on an electric bike. Actually, I take that back. Here I am letting some people by. Sometimes they do hear you coming, and they do let you by, but oftentimes they cannot hear you coming. So it's just a weird thing you got to get used to, letting a couple more people by. My first lap was really bad. Not only am I getting used to the electric bike, but there's a ton of other variables that I'm getting used to. I have different tires than I've been running the past couple years. I have different suspension. I realized how well in tune I was with my KTM 300 XCW and that suspension. I knew exactly how it was going to react over everything. And when you have that feeling of comfort, you can push that bike just so much harder. So here I am getting used to this KYB suspension, these new tires, not to mention I have a different seat, and I am absolutely going to go buy the same seat. So I have a Guts Racing seat on here with the ribs and everything, but what it doesn't have are these side winglets. They're really popular in motocross, but it's just these two kind of like bulges, these protrusions around your knees. So you have that much more grip and substance to, I don't know what that was. I heard somebody screaming. Substance to grab onto with your legs, because these Starks are fairly narrow. I want to say, judging by feel, they're a little bit more narrow than modern KTM chassis. And so just because of that, it just made squeezing with my legs a little bit more difficult, and it contributed to quite a bit of arm pump on this first lap. Here's where that traction control really came in handy. Again, 22 horsepower this first lap. Plenty enough power to have you zooming through the woods. But on that hill climb right there, for example, I could have used more horsepower. 27 was really, really nice. I can absolutely see running like 30 horsepower through most of these tracks. We don't ever run into like really deep sand, so I never have that to worry about. Yeah, I don't know what to do in these situations. Like, I'm faster than you. I mean, I'm always looking to try and pass, but like, how do I make them aware of my existence without being a jerk? Because normally I always just try to pass. But on an e-bike, on a gas bike, they can hear you making those attempts. But on an e-bike, they can't hear you, so it's you almost have to shout woo-woo or something like that. Just for pure safety, because if that person doesn't hear you coming and then they change their lines right as you're making a pass attempt, well, you both could go down. So yeah, my first lap was pretty bad time-wise. I never had any get-offs. My final lap was pretty good. I got a lot more confidence. The track tacked up. I started getting more used to the suspension and the tires. I am running tubeless, so my PSI is fairly low. 6 in the rear. Yeah, the front end washed.
That's where I feel like an M59 wouldn't cut a split.
Yeah, I'm so used to a Bridgestone M59 on the front. They slide too, but...
Extreme medium compounds on them.
These tires are nice. I like them. But I'll be switching back to my usual setup likely after this race. Maybe an 1882, who knows, we'll figure it out. Yeah, as you watch the race go on, and I grabbed the Mode 4, which in this race I had it set up for 27 horsepower. I get a lot more speed. I go slow a little bit less, a lot more confidence. Like on this downhill, I'm averaging about between 13 and 17 miles per hour, and doing it like 20 plus on future laps. It's also first lap out too. I haven't ridden in a while since the previous race, really. Yeah, these hill climbs, traction control is really nice. You can just kind of pin it. And I think I had traction control right around the 25% area, 25-30 at the absolute max, which allowed me to still kick the rear end out and like slide it and spin the tire. But for situations like this, I could just pin it. It was weird. Felt like cheating almost. Another funny thing I had to get used to is not riding on the arch of my right foot, because you're always covering the brake. Well, not always, but a lot of times you're covering the brake on a gas bike. And with the left-hand rear brake up here, you can always be on the balls of both of your feet. So that was another thing I had to constantly remind myself to do. So I'm going to play around with the maps a little bit. I'm going to tighten my horsepower range. You have 5 maps for anyone who doesn't know, and they're all selectable with your left-hand thumb with those little up and down buttons. And you can shift on the fly between all your maps. So if some of your maps have different horsepower ranges, you can have different regen ranges. Yeah, I give the woo-woo to make a pass, but that person ends up, I let them by, like, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes later, because they were right on my tail. And then I passed them again later on, like, the 3rd lap or something. That was a cool little back and forth. But yeah, your maps, especially if you have the traction control feature as well, you can dial in so many different options. So I'm going to get a tighter horsepower window of between probably 20 and 35 horsepower, maybe between 25 and 35 horsepower. And then have different maps where I have different regen to make it more of a 125 two-stroke feel. So when I'm just coasting through the woods, I don't have to be on the throttle so much. I can just kind of free spool that engine and coast and carry momentum. And then I can just hit the button and stay in the same exact horsepower. Yeah, almost lost it there. Shift up to the next map, same horsepower, same traction control, but it can be a higher regen for when I hit a downhill like this. I can have more regen like a 450 and extend your battery life that much more. Yeah, this section was a little, do I go left or right? I see the arrows over here to my left, so I hit this awkwardly slow. And again, here's where a little bit more horsepower would have benefited. But 22 horsepower is getting us up this hill at a pretty decent pace, and I could be going faster. Yeah, the second and the third lap, I hit this section a lot harder. Here I am waving that person back on. It's weird on the electric bike too. You, when you're in the woods, sometimes you can't tell if that four-stroke or that two-stroke noise is coming from ahead of you or behind you. I suppose you hear that on the gas bike sometimes too, but it's a little bit more pronounced. So yeah, pretty bad arm pump the first lap here, where I did have to force myself to slow down a little bit. It was a little bit frustrating, but to be expected when you don't ride that much. So there goes my brother, who's riding 30 plus C, the first, second, and third place all on each other's tire, basically.
I'm a lot slower on this bike than I am.
Yeah. I just said I'm a lot slower. When I saw them pass by, I'm like, dang it, I am slow on this bike. But not necessarily the case. Like I said, the second and third lap, we pick up the pace quite a bit. Passing by all the spectators towards the finish line. Yeah, this property is insanely gorgeous. I love it. One of my favorite tracks. So yeah, I'm in mode 3 right here, and you can see on this uphill I click it into mode 4. Still in mode, there we go, mode 4. And we start to take this turn a little too aggressive. Whoa. See the banners there. So I remember that for next time. I think I let a couple more people by here. Yeah, if I hear a gas bike coming up behind me, I just let them by. It's there's no guessing if it's your class or not. Yep, visor down, pin it. I don't know if I'm full throttle right there or not. I'm definitely pretty close.
So I can push it. I can leave it in map 4 the rest of the race.
Yeah, little internal discussion there. Realizing that after one lap, I'm at 81%. I can leave it in map 4 and push it really hard. I could even go up to map 5, which I never really used too much this race just because it was a bit slick. That one I had set at 35 horsepower. So yeah, the tires just fine.
Do I have a flat tire?
Yeah, so here, listen to the tires on the hard pack.
Or is that just what hard pack sounds like?
Kind of tough to hear through the GoPro camera. Right there you could hear it pretty good. And I think I have a flat tire to the point where I pull over. I'm like, I definitely have a flat tire. There's no way my tires are making that kind of noise. Nope.
I'm good.
You can tell I don't ride too much tarmac. Yeah, it's just, you never hear those kinds of sounds on a gas bike. It doesn't matter what it is, a PW50. You're not going to hear that kind of knobbies hitting the hard pack. I was laughing at myself so hard after that. Yeah, definitely gonna play. Yeah, that little route was little sketch. Definitely gonna play with the maps. Gonna reduce the regen just a bit. Gonna tighten that horsepower window. This little spot was a little tricky. Definitely could. Yeah. I thought I heard someone like on my butt. So I pull over to let them by, and it took a minute. I guess they were not as on my butt as I thought. Yeah, so no, that person wasn't on my butt at all because I passed that person later. I don't know, phantom noises. But you can see with 27 horsepower, making up this hill a lot better. I also have a little bit of more of a run. Yeah, so I got a little cattywampus there and had to like rescue myself, and then I heard that person, so I'm like, you go ahead. I'm not trying to mess up your hill climb. Yeah, it's so interesting racing this e-bike. You never miss a downshift. You're never in the wrong gear. In these situations, I have no idea what to do. I end up tooting the horn. This person's just doing the thing, racing their race, getting through the course, but it's a very loud four-stroke, and I don't know what to do. So, just a quick little beep beep. And then we wick it up. So I got a few more, not battles, but sections where I'm riding with other people in here. I'm really loving the open-ended handguards too. Yeah, so that time I just let out a little woo-woo. I'm a big believer in just pass them. Don't rev bomb people. But people, yeah, I don't know. This is so weird. I'm going to have to get used to shouting at people because it's the only way they can know that I'm back there. So weird. But yeah, we gain a lot more confidence here in the second lap. I'm starting to turn it up a little bit. The track's drying out a little bit too, so that helps. Getting used to this KYB suspension, especially up front. I think I'm going to reduce the compression and the rebound in the fork just a little smidgy bit. Maybe like 2 clicks and see how that feels. Just to sort of get back to that WP more plusher suspension. I actually prefer this overall. There's pros and cons. That softer, more plush suspension, I can go faster in the more technical rough stuff. Well, at like slower speeds. But then this stuff is more beneficial at like higher speed stuff. So it's all give or take. I can get comfortable on this. Yeah, I catch up to this rider. So that like this downhill, I'm taking it a lot faster than I did the time before. But gotta slow down because riding on their rear tire would be asking to crash. Too many slick, jagged rocks to easily wash out. Yeah, and like modulating the brakes too. You're just doing it with your hands. It's a little weird. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to say. Like, hey, I'm right behind you. Like, I probably could have made a pass right here, but it's a little too sketchy. So I ride behind this person for a good amount of time. We were cruising together at a good click. Oh, and the rhododendrons were in bloom this year too. You see them with the white flowers? Normally, I think we race this track a little later in the year, so the blooms are all gone, but this is Rhododendron City, and they were pretty gorgeous. That's what we're surrounded by right here. Then up this loose rock hill climb. This is where I just kind of pin it again, letting the traction control do its thing, but I don't want to be too close to them because I don't want to take a golf ball sized rock to the face coming off their rear tire. Man, I need that other seat so badly. I need that knee grip. I don't want to do stag pegs just because I don't want to get my boot caught on things, whatever, but and I'll say for the rider triangle and comfort, it's all right there. If you are used to like a stock modern KTM setup and the ergonomics of all that, this is going to feel very at home. I'm 6 foot tall, you know, average build size. And I feel right at home on this thing. Yeah, so right here we're holding a decent pace, but I do feel like I could be going faster, but he also caught up to that person. So once, this is a bit of a longer clip, but once we both get by, we both turn it up quite a bit, you know, for us, for our skill level. Yeah, so when he passes, I gotta shout one more, but people don't always hear. They hear the one gas bike. Okay, here we go. Let's go. Grab a gear or whatever. Yeah, we get past this group and we just keep going. Because I do want to make the pass. I remember I caught this person on the downhill. I'm like, I think I'm faster. And then I hear, I'm like, maybe I'm not. Maybe I got no business passing. Here's a situation where I will not ask to pass. We are too evenly paced. Even though we are in different classes, I'm just going to earn this pass. Doing a little regen, keep that battery topped off. Yeah, I could have easily gone well over 2 hours. That wasn't me revving. So that person heard the rev and just, I happened to be behind them. Yeah, I take this little section a lot faster now that I'm familiar with how that flows. And then this uphill, we let her eat. 27 horse, 35 would have been a lot better. Traction control was intruding a little bit, but not in a negative way. I've seen other people do tests online and in like drag races, and at some point, if you have your traction control dialed up too much, it will hold you back, and you will be slower than if you just didn't have it on at all. So something to consider and play with should you choose to get traction control and start using it.
Right behind you.
Yeah, I don't know what to say. Like, I could be going way faster than this through here. Perdóname. Second time I used the horn this race. That didn't work, so okay.
Okay.
Fair enough. Drag race it is. Yeah, a little bit frustrating. We're obviously different classes. And we gotta move. Yeah, rolling through scoring here to finish up my second lap, start of the third, and now I'm feeling really good. Got a good feel for the track, which is shaping up. There's a lot more grip. Much better feel for the bike, the suspension, how everything's going to react, the brakes too. I only reached for my foot brake, I think, once or twice on that first lap, and then I never did the rest of the race. So we get a good little move up here. I should have kicked it up to 35 horse for this climb. Yeah, see there, the tail slid out from too much wheel spin, so it'll let you spin the tire at around 25 to 30%. I think that's a sweet spot for this. I think on a drier course with a little bit more grip, I'd probably dial it down maybe to like 20%.
One more. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I'm not yelling at you. I'm just yelling one more.
No, you're good,
So-
you're good.
I could see it, this person looking back like they were going to let me pass, and I'm like, no, we rode together. Yeah, I'm shouting, same speed. We were riding together for a long time, and but I do the same thing. I've let people in my class by because they were right on my tail, and I'm like, I'm holding you up. Let's just get this over with. Yeah, carrying a bit more speed through this stuff. A lot of diagonal, slippery roots and tree limbs and things. Had to be careful. Yeah, you can just stand up a lot more, I feel like. I don't know, maybe not. I need to stand up more, period. Who doesn't? But when your feet are always on, or when you're always on the balls of your feet on the pegs, it's just easier. I almost fell down sideways off that little ledge right there. One more send up the big one. And then my battery dies. I'm still playing with the battery setup, or the GoPro setup. I don't know if I'm going to do slightly less definition to get a little bit more life out of it. We'll see. But thanks for watching, everybody. I'm going to finish the remainder of the races on this Stark Varg EX, so stick around. Thanks for watching.